it's incredible that we're, doing this show, that this character is out there. The fact that, Kamala, of course, is Muslim and South Asian is pretty amazing. And it's also a show that is kind of celebrating her roots in a really fun way. So for me, I'm very grateful that we've been given this experience and that we've been given this opportunity. And I just really hope people really of all backgrounds celebrate her. I think they will.
From when you started your career in Marvel Comics to the Miss Marvel series, how the representation of superheroines, female characters, has changed since then?
I think when I was working at Marvel, and that's kind of, at the time that Miss Marvel came out, it was only, I think, one female led title at that point, and it was Captain Marvel. And it was getting less and less. And I think from a representation standpoint, there are tons of female characters that existed out there, obviously. I mean, I can name a bunch of X-Men that I absolutely loved. And a bunch of characters that I think were inherent to Marvel comics, like in The Invisible Woman is one of the founding individuals of the Marvel universe. So it's
Yeah.
existed, but there just weren't as many prominent ones that people were very excited about. And so I have seen in the last 12 years, not just the amount of excitement about these characters, but just the amount of characters that exist, and the fans that have coming in that are so excited about them, like Miss Marvel and of course Captain Marvel, but there's also Monica Rambeau and Riri Williams and America Chavez. And so it's pretty crazy to see that evolution in the 12 years I've been at the company. And in a weird way, I do think it's just the beginning in the MCU.
How would you define Miss Marvel in terms of tone and genre?
Yeah, I think that, tonally we wanted to kind of celebrate all of the aspects of the show that made it very unique in the comics as well, right? So
Mhm.
I think a part of that was like the visuals and the style of it, but also the fact that we did lean into, I mean, Willow, the writer of the comic, was like very much like excited to lean into her Muslim identity, her being Pakistani, all of those things. It was just a part of the show, as part of the story. It wasn't, a isolated thing or a lesson. And I think for us that was something we were going to incorporate in the story, whether or not stylistically we could retain it, that was going to be a big part of the show. So I'm very excited about what it looks like. It feels different from, other shows out there, not just the MCU. I think other shows out there, but it still feels like it can live in the MCU. And I think the animation and the music and just the color and just all of it feels like right for what who Miss Marvel is and who her friends are and her community is. And we just had a lot of fun playing in that world. It was so fun.
One of the big differences between the comic and Miss Marvel series is her power, Kamala's power, the
Mhm.
origin. So, what would you tell to the fans about this important change?
Yeah, I think this is kind of one of those where we wanted to make sure that we were telling a story that was still linking to, larger stories in the Marvel universe, because in MCU, because Kamala is kind of going into the rest of the MCU. And
Mhm.
also, one that was telling a story that was connected to a really important story to Kamala's, which is about her family legacy and her past, and linking the powers a little bit more to that. So for us, I think that was, an important story to tell from an identity perspective, because ultimately the story is going to be one about identity and embracing that and celebrating that.